The story that we call the Doubting Thomas story is always the assigned gospel reading for the Sunday after Easter. Now, this is unusual because our lectionary follows a 3-year cycle. And so typically, the assigned reading for any given liturgical date doesn't repeat until 3 years have gone by. So I have to trust the wisdom of our Christian forebears in the development of the lectionary, that there is a particular word of hope in this story that we need to hear more often. Now, the story goes like this. It was the evening of Easter Day, and some of Jesus' disciples had gathered in a house and locked the door. And behind that locked door, they were talking about the events of the day, the events of the last 3 days. There were rumors that Jesus' tomb had been found empty. It was only 48 hours after Jesus had died, and no one really knew what was going to happen next. You can imagine the fear, the tension, the worry that was in that room, when suddenly Jesus was with them. Now, Thomas wasn't there that night, and so when later these other disciples told him about it, he didn't believe them and said, "I'm going to have to see it with my own eyes." Well, the next week, Thomas was there, and Jesus appeared again. I love how gentle Jesus is with Thomas in this story. He doesn't chastise or reprimand him. He simply takes Thomas's hand and he puts it in his own hand. And he puts Thomas's hand in his own side. He gives Thomas what he needed. Thomas wanted proof. He wanted facts. He wanted knowledge. And that's what Jesus gave him. And we're not so unlike Thomas. We need facts. We need knowledge. We want information. That's one of the realities and challenges of being modern Westerners who have so much knowledge. We think we can reduce the universe to a spreadsheet. We think that everything can have a measurable outcome and proof and data that we can break down and understand. And we especially want proof and data during these days of living with the coronavirus. We want hard facts. We want to know how long till this ends. When will we get back to work? When will we see our children and our grandchildren again? How long will our money last? When will there be a vaccine? And it's so hard and it's frightening because we don't have answers yet and we don't understand. This virus is reminding us that things happen that we can't control and that we don't always understand. Now, there might be a lesson about faith in this because faith and facts and figures aren't the same thing. And our hope can defy our fears and our need to control. Now, we've all heard people trying to prove the existence of God, which simply cannot be done. What sounds convincing to one person based on their own sensibilities and their cultural experiences may have no sway for someone else. We can't be logical about faith. We don't know in the depths of our souls that something is true because of what we've read. We believe it because we have found something transformative in an experience of faith. Faith is mystery. Belief cannot be explained. One of my favorite expressions about the mystery of life is thin places. There's a Celtic saying that the distance between heaven and earth is just 3 feet. And in the thin places, the distance is even less than that. Poet Sarlan Sledge offers these words as a description. Thin places, the Celtics call this space, both seen and unseen, where the door between the world and the next is cracked open for a moment, and the light is not all on the other side. God-shaped space. holy. I once heard Dr. Amy Jill Levine, who is a religion scholar, tell a story about her experience with her mother at her mother's deathbed. Her mother asked, "What's going to happen when I die?" And Dr. Levine said, "Oh, Mommy, when you die, you're going to get to see Daddy." Her mother said, "I look like hell." Dr. Levine said, "Oh, Mommy, when you see Daddy, you will be as beautiful as you were on the day that you were married." Her mother said, "How do you know?" And Dr. Levine said, "I have a PhD in religion. I know these things." Later, after her mother had died, her husband said, "You don't believe any of those things that you said to your mother." And Dr. Levine said, "I know. But as they were coming out of my mouth, I believed every word." I had a similar experience with my mother when she was dying. She asked me, "Where are we going?" And I said, "I think you're going to heaven." And she said, "I think so too." On the morning that she died, I posted on her Facebook page that she was now in heaven listening to angels sing and St. Paul preaching. Now, I don't believe that there is a place with angelic choirs or conversations with Paul, but I know what I told her was true. I know what I put on that Facebook post was true. I know that there is mystery to life. I know that we experience grace in unexpected, life-giving, and life-affirming ways. I think that there is even grace in this shared experience of living with COVID-19. We've already begun to see some of the silver linings as we get more connected to neighbors, as we experience more heartfelt appreciation of the work of one another. We are finding new ways to be in community together, and we are seeing more and more random acts of kindness. There's more to life than knowing. There's more to life than belief. There's goodness and kindness and generosity and forgiveness. There is the possibility of transformed living. And in our Christian tradition, as people who claim that resurrection can happen, we can experience that transformation as we follow Jesus into the very heart of God. Blessings be with you this day. Amen.